Make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second. Roll call aim.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Rash?
No action. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Roll call aim.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Bill.
day.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Yep.
We'll reconvene to the Board of Commissioners meeting, and you are up, Janet.
This is just a follow from last week's conversation. I was to go back and survey the directors if they wanted to either continue the performance evaluations or start the in-the-moment conversations. And I will tell you that every single director wants to do the in-the-moment conversation.
Really?
Yeah,
Unanimous.
there are a couple that will continue to still do the performance evaluation just because their departments are large and they just feel it's best.
Okay,
So
they have
there's
something.
some, but they will also have the conversation, the immediate feedback conversations too.
Okay.
But every single one of them came back with wanting to do that.
Okay.
I have to tell you, yesterday I was in the NotCog meeting and they were talking about issues and stuff, and I was telling them about, we were looking into it, so they seem to be interested in doing something like that as far as some of their employment issues. They think that it would be better to
Because that way
address.
you're addressing either a good performance, whatever's happening, or a poor performance or whatever, so that way you're, and we do have some templates out there, but I could go back and just create them just so that I could offer those to the directors. That might be easy, like, you know, if someone, if they wanted to congratulate somebody doing something really, really good, they could give them this form, or if they wanna address a behavior issue, performance issue, they could.
So they'll still have something like even doing in the moment.
Yes, yeah, because I would still encourage those to be still in the personnel file. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
What happens though if you have a supervisor that maybe isn't doing any in the moment? Maybe they just don't have contact, you know, sometimes they supervise a lot of people. How would that go? It would just be if there was ever an issue.
I would hope that a supervisor should have some contact.
I know, but you know how it is when
But I
you're
think-
over a huge department, you may not.
Yeah,
That's the only question I have about the in the moments.
yeah. And that's when, I would have to actually have a conversation with the department director to see what would work best for that supervisor, for that department. If their employees are out and about, maybe they don't have those immediate contacts, we'd have to figure out.
Because in the moment can be either for issues that need addressed or for, like you said, congratulatory or.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah.
would still recommend, doing evaluations on probationary periods, because that way
Oh,
you
yeah.
you can, assess the performance during the probationary period. So I still would encourage those, which I think almost all departments are already doing that, based on the probationary period. So I still would encourage that, and recommend that. So those would remain the same, the probationary evaluations. But yeah, so, yeah, every single director came back saying that they feel that's the best plan of action. And they did feel immediate feedback benefited both parties. But then that leads to our next conversation. I actually invited.
Janet, 1 second,
sorry.
does that mean that some directors will not be doing any evaluations, they'll
Right.
just be doing it at the moment?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So would this be,
and I would have to change
Okay.
we would have to revise the
Yeah,
policy
okay,
manual,
that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. I didn't
You
present
didn't know if
anything
that,
right now,
yeah.
they didn't know, yeah. But yeah, obviously the policy manual would have to be revised and make that section. But then the next section would be the merit pay policy, because we're referring to performance based on evaluations. So we need to talk about what does that look like. And I invited Todd to be a part of this conversation, just so he could maybe just talk financially, how would that work, or, I don't know, just kind of open it up for some discussion on what exactly that looks like for our employees.
Yeah. A merit is above and beyond, like if we give a 2%, then merit is above that, correct? That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And would that work like with the director or supervisor go to, like supervisor go to the director and the director come to us, or how does that work? I mean, how's it decided?
That's how I would imagine it
Okay.
would work, like a director would come to you
Okay.
and say,
This
I feel this person,
Okay.
Jane Doe, John Doe,
And they will have verified it was in their budget and either with
Yeah,
Todd
usually
or.
they work with Todd. Yeah.
Hmm.
So this may look a little bit different because of that, and I don't know, because we're referring to the performance criteria and evaluations to help determine.
I don't have a copy of that. Did we not get another copy in our packet or?
It should be in your packet.
I'm talking about in my
This,
packet.
we got a one page, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have it. I just had the. Amy, do you have an
Yeah,
extra
I'll get you.
copy?
It may be out of order, Sabrina, mine was out of order, but it was.
Well,
in
I
there.
just looked. All I have is prosecutor and, their resources. And stuff that I pulled for discussion.
Do you have any comments on the merit pay?
I guess I'm confused. Are you saying any director will come at any time during the year and say, I feel this employee deserves more money?
We don't really have a
And that's what we have to figure out.
time,
Is that what,
yeah.
is that what you want?
My recommendation would be that we don't have a separate merit pay policy, and that if departments want to discuss employee compensation with us, the appropriate time to do that is during their
Right.
budget request, and the rationale is provided then, that this, and they make the case then, and then we decide it then. I think that, as Todd has pointed out numerous times, people then come back outside of that budget process and still ask.
Throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, within their,
Purview.
as a director to do, and hopefully it's not unmanageable. And I think that depending on what discretionary funds we would have, we could consider those on a limited case-by-case basis. And if there's not a separate policy for merit pay, especially if you look at this, it's heavily based on an evaluation system. And I don't know if you didn't have an evaluation system, having a
How this would
specific
come.
policy like that seems odd. So those are my thoughts.
Todd, do you have any comments on what's being proposed?
I'm still not, I guess what you're proposing is that people just come in when they feel like it. which-
No, I think budget time, right?
Well, budget
Well, that's
time would
what
be
she
the
just
best
said,
time for
but-
Yeah.
that to do. The concern always becomes those departments that have their own funding and can set their own rates always have the money to give the raises. And then those departments, particularly the general fund ones, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how hard you work or how well you do, you don't get the raise because there isn't the money available. And that's one of the dichotomies that these original discussions were trying to help solve. The answer to the general fund people, especially in the middle of the year, is almost always no.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't, we can start setting aside extra money just for that purpose. But then you get into the, well, I better be the first one in, not the
Yeah.
last, because then the money's
It
gone
just
kind of a situation.
It's a money grab.
The best time is to say any raises for 2020 need to be brought up during the 2019 budget process.
If they're not brought up then you wait till the 2020.
I mean, that's my
Yeah.
preference, and it makes it the most standardizable way that you're considering everybody at once. Like I said, otherwise you could request in January, and yes, we have the funds, you could request in November, no, we don't.
No, yeah.
And now the same standard isn't being applied for the same work effort.
So for consistency's sake,
That'd be my recommendation.
Just at budget time, and then they come in 2 months after the budget and ask again, so.
Well, again, there's nothing wrong with them asking, but then you have the
Yeah.
answer of, no, it needs to
Yeah.
be brought back
Exactly.
in January or July.
so we're not gonna have a separate merit pay policy, is that it?
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, it's just too hard.
And then, like I said, the merit pay policy is not in the policy manual right now, because we're waiting
Right.
Yeah.
for commissioner documents, so it's
No
okay.
change.
It's no change. However, I would change the section regarding performance evaluations,
Okay.
and I'll figure out how the language should be, and then I'll bring it back to you guys.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Overall recommendations.
Okay. Sounds good, Julia.
Thanks, Janet.
I think that's it for me.
Wow. Done early.
Yes.
5 minutes.
Look at that.
Maybe see if Joanne can come up.
Todd, I wonder if you could be ready at 10:35, because I cannot imagine the coloring contest discussion taking a half hour. What do you think? The water resources?
I can do that.
Can you?
Yeah, it's cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or now, if Joanna cannot be reached, or did she?
I just
Okay.
texted her.
She's gotta
Is she
come up.
coming? What was she coming for again? I can't remember.
She has a G3. Yeah, she's got a
Is it
G3.
secure?
With an attorney. I'm assuming Mr. Majori.
Is that you?
That would be me.
The only county attorney in the audience.
Is that all water resources has? Coloring for this? Do they even need to come over for that?
So how you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, huh? How you doing today, huh?
No complaints.
I don't even think they need to come over for that. Do
Okay.
you wanna let them know
Yeah.
that and just, and if they have something else?
Unless they wanna tell us about how they came about it.
Been a fast year, huh?
Huh?
Been
We
a
can give
fast
them the
year.
option.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
I mean, it's,
Too fast.
Well, I retired at the
Got some
first of the
good
year, and I
colors.
thought I was gonna have
great.
time off. So,
Yeah. That's good to keep busy.
6 and under is Sarah Finn. She told text
uh,
The Board of Directors published the attached article in local research such as the articles may be published on
I got
Amen.
tons of persimmons on my
Yeah.
persimmon tree this year.
And you know what, there is an ask in here, and I'm fine with it, if they
A couple
want
of
to
chestnuts on
publish
my
it.
chestnut.
Diane, we might wanna
First
give
year it's
Diana
had nuts on it.
a copy of this,
Okay, now,
for it to go
now
on the
the
paper.
other one's,
She's done
not only one
career.
flower this
do
year,
their
and they
own
don't
with
do
the-
well.
Yeah.
Only one
So
flower,
why don't
so
we
we need to
just
crop
let them
on
know
it.
we're okay with it?
So,
Yeah,
you know,
They could, I mean,
they're
just
not
like DJFS circulates
small
stuff
and
like
cute.
that.
well, yeah,
How many
or
is that?
Diane, we can give her
I
copy
planted
and follow up with them.
About 10, the American chestnuts, they're trying to reintroduce them and that.
That's
So.
pretty
How
cool.
old is the tree?
This tree is 8 years old and that, so.
Amy, do you wanna call Laura and see if she wants?
I have trees that are 8 years old.
Oh, okay,
and then I have
great,
some other ones
great.
and that, so. I've been planting a lot of trees, different trees out there. I planted a bunch of pawpaws too, so I had flowers on them this year. Next year I'll get fruit, I'm sure, you know, so.
That's good.
It's over in Gettysburg,
Yeah, that's
cemetery.
on the
And
road.
there was
What
a
time were you
really
coming
old
in?
American chestnut, had to
Oh, not the time
100
you're
years
here.
old, probably went back to the Civil War. But it was doing fine.
9:20.
It didn't succumb to the blight.
Do you know Bob Staley up in Manaway? He has chestnuts, and a few years ago, he got hit pretty bad with that. Some type of blight, yeah.
The American chestnuts or Chinese chestnuts? You see a lot of Chinese
I don't know.
chestnuts around.
I don't know.
Yeah, we used to have Chinese chestnuts 70 years, or 60 years ago when I lived in
The
Milton.
Chinese?
Yeah, my dad
Right.
planted. And those flourished, of course. They have those nasty prickers.
Come on down.
Do they?
As
Wow.
opposed to the American chestnut.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you? Good. Getting
This
the
is
shower.
interesting.
She's going to court.
Foggy out, huh?
Goodness sakes.
Visibility's awful.
Hey, Chrissy.
Gonna come up, Chris, sit up there.
Yep.
Okay, so we are going into executive session.
I walk my eyes because I think it's me.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go in executive session for G3, conference with an attorney for a public body concerning a dispute or pending or imminent court action.
Second.
Roll calling.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.